This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win, can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible, while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PFF. That's betterhelp.com/PFF. Let's get to the next game, the Red River Shootout. Texas beating number 6 Oklahoma 23-6, the final score there in the Cotton Bowl. The highest grade player starting off with the Texas Longhorns. Safety, Michael Taft, 83.5. D-tackle, Murad Watson, 77.9. Safety, Jelani McDonald, 72.7. Cornerback, Malik Muhammad, 72.7 as well. DeAndre Moore Jr., the wide receiver, 71.7. And Arch Manning with a really good 86.5 grade in the win for Texas. Let's go over to Oklahoma with their highest grade players in the loss. Linebacker Kendall Daniels, 83.3. Grayson Halton, the D-tackle, 77.9. Taylor Wine, the edge rusher, 77.2. Reggie Powers, the third. The safety, 73. Kobe McKenzie, the linebacker, 72.9. And John Mateer with a 37.4 grade at quarterback for Oklahoma in this game too. Dalton, what told the story for you in this one?
For me, it actually starts, and I know you're going to get to the quarterbacks, and everybody's spotlight is on the two quarterbacks in this game, obviously, especially Mateer coming back 17 days after surgery and struggling big time in this game. But to me, it starts with, and we've talked about this all year, and now it's finally come up in a big spot and hurt them. Texas run defense, Oklahoma's inability to run the football, right? In this game, 25 carries for 105 yards, 15 of those yards scrambles from John Mateer. This is a problem for Oklahoma, and Texas knew it, and they dominated him. They were going to make Mateer beat him with his arm, and I don't blame them one bit, especially with the surgery and the questions about him throwing the ball, and even just the rust from missing out on a couple weeks of practice. But 91.5 run defense grade from Texas. That is their highest since winning the Big 12 title game in 2023. Remember, that was the game they just completely shut down Ollie Gordon and Oklahoma State. Highest since that game. 13 run stops, 1 missed tackle in run defense for Texas. Actually, they only missed 4 tackles, run defense or coverage for the entire game. Did not allow a run longer than 11 yards. Oklahoma's passing game, I know it's been solid enough, right, in some of these wins over Michigan, over Auburn, right? Deion Burks is solid. Isaac Satenya, he had a big game against Auburn, obviously aided by a lack of officiating on one play too, but they need to be able to run the football. That was what we expected the base of this offense was going to be, whether it's Torrey Blaylock or we don't see Jaden Ott at all. He just doesn't play, I guess. John Mateer and his legs. Oklahoma is not going to win many games with the rest of their schedule. I believe it's the hardest schedule in the country. Is that what they're – I know there's some metrics that say their remaining schedule is the hardest in the country, but running for barely over 100 yards, they're not going to move the football. And their passing game, look, Mateer is obviously good. He's got a live arm. He can make throws. But they need to be able to manufacture offense. And I think the big problem with that now is that I believe the Temple game is the only game where they've scored more than 25 points. So, I mean, you just can't have an offense that's so stagnant in both dimensions, because now you're asking Mateer to go out there and carry you. Like they were asking Jackson Arnold last year to go out there and carry. They scored 35 on Illinois State as well. But you look at 3 games against Power 4 teams. They've scored 24, 24, and now 6. They can't run the football. And again, they've had flashes from Torrey Blaylock, but there's just not enough there. They need to be able to run the ball for probably over 200 yards a game if they're going to get, because their passing game, their receiving core is just not that deep. It's been Deion Burks, Jaron Kanek, a little bit of Satania, but it's not dynamic enough to beat a team like this, and there's more good defenses coming. I mean, look at this. South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU. Man, oh man, you better find a way to run the football and get physical on this offensive line as well, or you're going to have a serious problem. It's going to be more days like this.
So going into the week, because I don't think our metrics have updated yet, but on our PFF power rankings, again, available at PFF.com, Wisconsin right now has the hardest schedule remaining in the country. Oklahoma's second. So it's very close. But Wisconsin does have –
I remember we pointed out Wisconsin in the preseason. It was brutal. Like they have like all –
It's Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota.
I remember looking at Wisconsin's preseason. It was like the 9 best teams in the Big Ten plus Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the hardest schedule in the country, right? But Oklahoma, I mean, they've got a murderer's –
They're second, though. No, they're second.
They've got an absolute murderer's row coming up. They've got to find a way to run the football. I just think this team was designed to be a dual-threat team with Mateer and his legs, the option game, the depth of backs that they have that we just haven't seen enough of. And the fact that Texas was able to go in there and look 105 yards in a college football game on the ground, that's pretty much shutting it down. That's pretty darn good. So, I mean, credit to Texas run defense. Watson was dominant up front. Michael Taft was flying all over the place. Anthony Hill, I thought, very quietly made a huge difference in this game, especially when it came to spying Mateer and Mateer not being able to outrun him to the corner. So, look, this Texas defense is everything we thought it was going to be, or at least in this game was everything we thought it was going to be. I think now you start to look at Texas and go, okay, sigh of relief, first Power 4 win, first SEC win. If they can continue to play defense like that, especially up front, now we start to talk about Texas as, maybe getting back on track here towards where they want to be.
Yeah, Oklahoma's schedule, for those who don't know, they've got at South Carolina, host Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, host Missouri, host LSU to end the year. So that's a pretty brutal schedule coming up for Oklahoma. My stat is obviously the quarterback difference in this game. Arch Manning played clean football. John Mateer did not play clean football in this game. Arch Manning, 83.7 passing grade, 87.5% adjusted completion rate too. He didn't blow anyone away with the box score numbers, but he was very, very efficient yesterday for the Longhorns. John Mateer, meanwhile, 31.1 passing grade, 0 big-time throws, 4 turnover-worthy plays with 3 interceptions yesterday, and only a 63.9% adjusted completion rate. Arch Manning also had more rushing yards than John Mateer. Barely. I think it was like 39 to 37, but still had more rushing yards than John Mateer yesterday. I'll just flat out say it. John Mateer probably should not have been playing that game yesterday. He did not look healthy. His hand, I think, was bleeding at one point in that game, too. It is a credit to his toughness that less than 3 weeks after surgery, when everyone said it should be 3 weeks or longer for him to be out, that he came back and played in this massive rivalry game, but he did not look healthy enough to play in that game yesterday. And also credit to Arch Manning for knowing what kind of game it was and trusting his defense to win this game. Arch Manning did not have to win this game for Texas. His defense did for him. So a great job by him of simply doing his job, not trying to go above and beyond his job requirement, making mistakes. Just a great job by Arch Manning of playing efficient football in a massive rivalry game. Dalton, this could have been a game for Arch Manning after all the criticism he's had all year to be like, hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. He didn't do that. He was even-keeled, he played a very efficient football game, and he knew his defense would win the day for him, and they did just that. So credit to Arch Manning for doing his job, and John Mateer really, really struggled in this game.
Manning avoided big mistakes, and I thought when he had to move outside the pocket, which was a decent amount too, he was under pressure about half the time in this game. I thought he was outstanding outside the pocket. So look, the surface numbers, 166 passing yards and no touchdowns, are going to tell you, okay, Manning was a traffic cone in this game. I really don't think that was the case. I really think there was points in this game where Manning could have crumbled under pressure, and he didn't. I thought he was really darn good. He was a lot better than the box score. And one more guy I want to point out, that the biggest play in this game that really put it away really was the big punt return from Ryan Niblett. Now, I know also, the officiating was kind of a big theme all day yesterday, and I don't know, they missed an illegal block in the back there, but special teams in a game like this matters too. So I think Texas in this game playing complementary football is so big because they needed this. They got a 100-yard day out of Trey Wisner. They got a special teams touchdown. Arch was solid throughout the day, 87.5% adjusted completion rate. I think this is how Texas needs to play right now. They don't need to ask Arch to save them or anything like that. Play defense, run the ball, have some balance. He's going to make some plays outside the pocket. You still got a darn talented football team. You just got to figure out who you are. And they definitely played better up front in this game, especially against such a good Oklahoma defensive line. This is the type of game that Steve Sarkisian needs to tell his team, hey, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit ugly. It's going to be not as flashy as last year, but we can still win a lot of football games playing like that.
Yeah, I'll shout out Pete Kwiatkowski, too, the Texas defensive coordinator in this one. Just a completely all-around dominant performance by his defense in this one. 85.4 defensive grade for Texas against Oklahoma. 91.5 run defense grade. 82.6 coverage grade, only allowed 3.7 yards per play and forced 3 turnovers too, only 98 yards on the ground, which forced a compromised John Mateer to try to win as a passer. That's not the way Oklahoma was going to win this game, with John Mateer on a broken hand too. So great job by Pete Kwiatkowski, man. They've done a great job defensively really all year. In 5 out of 6 games so far this year for Texas, they've allowed 14 points or fewer. Texas' problems have not come on the defensive side of the ball. Pete Kwiatkowski still has that performing as an elite unit right now, and I think right now, I can check right now, I believe it's the 4th highest graded defense in all of college football right now. So Texas defense, which we thought would be an elite unit going into the year, yeah, they are 4th right now behind Texas Tech, Indiana, Miami, and then Texas.
Some good units right there,
That's pretty
man.
good.
Jeez.
So, listen, I know Texas so far has been pretty disappointing for most people. That has a lot to do with the offensive side of the ball. This Texas defense is still an elite unit. So shout out Pete Kwiatkowski, who had an elite unit surprisingly last year. Unsurprisingly, this is an elite unit this year.
The only time this season that I thought Texas defense didn't play well was the first half against Florida.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've been outstanding this year. And boy, it helps to have the 3rd highest graded safety in the country in Michael Taft. This guy's the leader of this unit. He's the heart and soul, really, of this Texas team. And you look at just the all-around game he had yesterday. 8 total tackles, 3 stops, had a sack as a blitzer, allowed 1 catch in coverage for no yards, 78.9 coverage grade. Pete Kwiatkowski, and this, we talk about this with Matt Patricia in Ohio State and Caleb Downs. We'll get into that again. But what he's able to do because of all the things that Michael Taft is able to do at safety. I know this guy's undersized. This is an NFL safety. He knows what he's doing out there. He's a super aggressive tackler. He knows where to be in coverage at all times. He is just an excellent all-around football player. 75.9 run defense grade as well in this game. And I talked about how that's so big, stopping the run against Oklahoma. If you can do that, you give yourself a chance, obviously, to shut him down. I thought Michael Taft was just flying all over the place in this game. He was outstanding.
Yep, absolutely. A former walk-on, too, Michael Taft. Just a really cool story to see how amazing he's been for Texas last year and this year, too. Yeah, he's absolutely going to be an NFL safety. So great win for Texas, beating Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry 23-6 and getting their season back on track.